distracted by addiction. What was that? Oh, okay. Should I start over? Ah. So, we get into addictions or some sort of something we want to master some skill or something, and we just get lost in where we're at or what. So this song really reminded me of like, "Will you be my mind guard?" I was thinking about guru, how important in this tradition is having a teacher. And some says, "What do you mean guru?" The guru is talking about you need a guru, or the teacher's talking about how you need a guru. Is that so? You go, well, I guess because he's thinking about his teachers and everything he knows, everything we know is from people we've learned it from. How to write. We're talking about cursive. We learned how to write, how to take care of ourselves from other people. So in times of trouble, um, we need a mind guard. We need a bodyguard. We need some, if you be my mentor, that's what we're asking. Like with Lamas Yeshe, Lamas Zopa, let's take the Dalai Lama. You know, if you'll be, and they say, they'll protect like a protector. They're our protector. If we invite them in, right? You gotta take the bodyguard on. You gotta. Um, so will you be my bodyguard, and I'll be your long lost pal. I'll stick with you. I'll stick with you. I'll take you. We'll have a relationship. You know, we'll have a relationship. And so, in that sense, like a mentor or a guru or a spiritual guide, um, they help us. They help, and it's not just when we're in trouble, because they say even when we think we're happy, a lot of times we're in trouble because we're getting lost. We're getting it where it's an attachment, and we're kind of lost in the joy of it, and it's we're not seeing the whole picture. Does that make sense? Have you ever seen somebody like they're in love with somebody? I mean, I had an experience with anger where I just lost it one time in Pakistan. When somebody grabbed Bev, and I just lost it. Unfortunately, he got away, and then the spell broke. But people get in spells around, oh, there's so and so, and they just can't see. You can't see any faults. You can't see a bigger picture. That this is your projection. This isn't that person. This is your projection you're putting on them. So the mind guard, the guru, the teacher is really to help keep reminding us to look at our own mind, for where our happiness and our suffering comes from, to keep tabs on that. So I'm in the gym working out, and the song comes on, and I'm wow, I go there. That's where if I go there, then I get that benefit, right? I don't always go there, but if I go there, I get that benefit. But if I just read it like some of these songs, what they're speaking to is really stoking things that cause a lot of problems, like, oh, longing for some connection with somebody else, that'll bring me happiness. And they're at the bar drinking because they don't have it. So it's like that's a clue. Go back to country, right? That's a clue. It's not working out. So instead of wanting that and then I'll be happy, it's like, what is going on in my mind? So I really want to address that more today, like do some meditations where because yeah, so we'll get to that. But I wanted to bring up one more thing about another thing about confidence, because I think that has a lot to do with this. Um, we brought it up before how important having self-confidence was to deal with difficult situations, because if we don't have the right upbringing, if we don't have that secure attachment, sometimes we'll just do whatever anybody else wants from us, because we want their approval, or we withdraw and we can't deal with it, right? So we don't have a secure attachment to stay in a conversation even when it's difficult, or to stay with difficult situations. Um, so confidence, I think, is huge. And I read something about the Dalai Lama talking about types of confidence. One is one I mentioned last, these two I think I mentioned last week, but in kind of a different one. One is we're mainly concerned with the fulfillment of our own self-interest. You know, um, we have this confidence that we can do it, and it's like it doesn't matter who gets in my way. I don't, don't get in my way because I'm on a mission. I'm going to become CEO of this company, and sometimes ethics are lost and there's more trouble caused. So the other is having the self-confidence where we really want to we really have a concern for others and we really want to serve others, and that really takes courage, right? I mean, it takes courage to that example I gave of the guy who jumped in the pond in Florida and saved the woman out of the car. I mean, afterwards they say, no, it wasn't courage. I just reacted. But, it's like everybody else sees it as a very courageous thing to do because they're putting their life in danger, But he's driven, he has that sort of confidence that he could do it, right? That's the other thing. There's a confidence that you can do it. And Dalai Lama talked about having this confidence even when you can't do it. Like he said, some people expect me to perform miracles. He says, I can't do that. So that doesn't lower my self-confidence. I just know I'm not capable of doing that. So don't come and ask me to cure your cancer, like that. I mean, yeah, I think maybe he could, and he's humble, But so that's sort of having that confidence even when we don't have the ability, right? Even when we don't have the ability, keeps us going. He said another really key component is honesty. That really strikes me, that we're really honest with ourselves and with others. Like, no, I can't do that, you know. I can't. They say that with your guru, with your teacher, if you're really mentoring with somebody and you're letting them guide you and they ask you to do something, you can say no. You can say no if you don't think it's ethically right for you or you don't think you're capable or something like that. Then you can say no. Um, So this thing about being able to be honest with your abilities, be honest with yourself. And then he says, like, if we're honest, then we're not hiding anything. Then it's easier to be comfortable with other people. It's easier to be more confident because we don't have anything to hide. We don't have anything to we're not trying to deceive anyone. We're just so I thought that was really I think those are helpful things as far as um, confident. The other one I wanted to touch on was that there's this expression in Tibetan Buddhism that you can't ride two horses at the same time. You can't have a foot, one leg on one horse and one on the other. You're just not. I mean, okay, my mind always goes, oh yeah, there are people in the circus who can do that, but it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing, and so I think sometimes that confidence is also not having that kind of like if we have some kind of doubt that we're on the wrong we're not going we have doubt, then we lose self-confidence, right? If we have doubt, there's a health I'll talk about this a little later, but there's a healthy doubt where we're skeptical and we investigate. But if it's paralyzing, if it's like I just don't know what to do, and then, oh, I don't know how to do that. And then we don't try to learn how to do it. And we're doubting our abilities. Um, so it's not like choose a path like, oh, you have to be Galupa or Kagyu or, you know, there's like four or five sects in Tibetan Buddhism, and each one has many lineages. Each one will have a different lineage from different teachers. And so Buddha talked about 84,000 teachings for the 84,000 problem. So there's a path, and then there's different religions, right? So it's not about religion. The Dalai Lama will talk about ethical um, Buddhism, not so it's secular Buddhism. Um, Hello, how are you today? What's that? Okay. You gonna stay? No, 12:30. Okay, because now we locked the door. You can't leave. Were you here before? Yeah, yeah. You've been coming. So you forced them to come. Oh, you did? No? Yeah, you did. See? Honesty. See? Honesty. Anyway, um, yeah, so there's many, many, many avenues. It could be different religions. That's not the point. To me, the point is, are we going to have a mentor? Are we going to follow a path that leads to liberation and no more suffering? Or are we going to keep creating the causes for suffering? I think those are the two paths, right? Am I going to follow the eight worldly concerns or eight worldly dharmas? Like I'm only interested in gain and loss, getting more material things. That's going to bring me happiness. I'm confident in that. So, okay. Uh, or pain and pleasure. It's just like what immediately feels good, what doesn't feel good. If I don't like it, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to reject it. That's just the way. Or I want to be praised, and I want to be blamed, or I want a really good reputation. I don't want to be disgraced. So I'm going to do all I can to. That's my motivation in life, and to take care of my family and take care of my needs. But there's not a thought of like how can I get out of this? Because it seems like a cycle. Because I get stuff and then it breaks down. I get something new and it breaks down. I get a new job and then somebody else is competitive and I don't want to stay there anymore. I get in a relationship and it finishes. You know, I'm really happy and the next day I find out I have cancer. I mean, it's this not working out for you. This isn't working out. This path isn't working out. I think that's how I know I got involved. I was really dissatisfied, and I wanted another path, another way. College seemed like I was on some sort of treadmill that spits out, for your job, and then you become part of the culture that's creating. Um, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of the essentials for sure. But I think we can find time to devote to actually. So I think those are the two paths to actually getting out of the cycle. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's a question. Like what, during the day, Rich, what path are you on right now? Well, you're just thinking about yourself. You're kind of like a little grumpy and, you didn't get what you wanted. And well, is that where is that the path you want to be on? Oh, well, no. you know, and then we have this whole meditation cabinet in Buddhism. Well, okay, what can you do for that right now? What kind of meditation can you do right now? Or what can you think about? Well, why don't you look at some pictures of puppies? That'll help. Or you like cat videos, that'll cheer you up. So it's temporary. Okay, that's a temporary to get out of that mood, maybe, you know. Or maybe let's spend some time looking at that emotion and see what's really going on behind that. What are you really upset about? What's really getting after you? And is it, remember, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. Is Go read that. Go find a chapter in that fits for this situation, and study that a little bit. So you come back to that path. Yeah. So anyway, does that make sense? So role models are really good. So I mean, if we have role models that are just into being successful and being, in this world, in this life, then okay, just, I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's just that we're aware of what we're doing. Yeah. So much of Buddhism is like just be aware of what we're doing and what the effects of it are. Uh-huh. What kind of effects does it have on our mind and on other people? And we want to be happy, they want to be happy. So, how do we really get that to happen? So another thing that the Dalai Lama talked about with that faith that often comes up. That word in Buddha in well, things get translated, right? So faith in Christianity and in this Western culture anyway, faith would comes up as it's almost like you believe in God, right? Faith, you have faith, right? And so sometimes, like people say to me, "Well, I don't really know what God is, but I feel He has a plan for me, and He loves me," right? So there's different kinds of faith. There's blind faith. In Buddhism, they really want it to be reasoned. It's really important that you think it out because as soon as somebody challenges, either you get mad or you change your mind, because you don't have any reasons to believe in that, right? It just becomes this is who I am, you know. Don't confuse me with facts. My mind's made up. Buddhism is rather, prove, if these are the reasons why you rely on the Buddha Dharma Sangha because the Buddha is like the doctor for your mind, and the Dharma is like the medicine, and the Sangha is like the nurses. So you got the whole thing there to take care of your mind. It's all there, laid out, what to do. Um, so there's this reason to faith. Faith can mean faith. They translate it as confidence or trust. So isn't that's better for me? You know, you have confidence in this person to lead you. You've checked him out. There's a story that says to check out your teacher, right? So this student said, I've checked you out for 12 years, said this to his guru, and I'm going to follow you now. You're my guru. And the guru says, okay, well, I'm going to check you out for 12 years now and see if you're a suitable student. Kind of a joke, I think, but they do, Milarepa and Marpa, boy, Milarepa got tested like crazy. Go build a tower over there. I didn't tell you to build it there, but it should be over here. And put every one of those stones back where you found it. And one of my other students came and helped you. This is in the old days, and so that stone that doesn't count. You got to take that out, and that's at the bottom. So so he had things to work out before he got teachings. That was his teacher, and he was committed to him. But it's not like he didn't get discouraged. It's really neat. Some of these stories about old teacher student relationships, they always sound so lovely. But if you hear lamas talk about them, and you read more detail, some of them had a hard time, even at very high levels of development. They would give like Chenrezig. You see that statue? Chenrezig, I mean, it's a depiction of compassion, and how you need a lot of arms to help people. You need a lot of tools, right? But at one point, he gave up hope. He said, I don't, I've been working to benefit beings, and I don't see any improvement, and I don't think it's possible. Bam! He was like Humpty Dumpty. He fell apart. So his teacher, I mean, it's a story, okay? But in a way, you can see mentally how that would work. He inspired him. He put him back together so that he got inspired to, and so he had more arms and more heads to help beings. It's sort of like I can see it's a depiction of an inspiration of being, re-inspired. So we can be inspired by somebody, by a teacher, and go, wow, you see, you have confidence. Wow, wow, that like you meet them, you see the Dalai Lama talk or Lama Yeshe or whoever, and you just like go, phew, you've never seen anything like this before. This person's so, they don't have much, and they're materially, but boy, are they happy, you know? And it's not like they're just, la la happy. It's really has a basis. And then you long to follow that path that they took. That's another type of faith or confidence or trust, And then actually you have some experiences by practicing and then you have a confident. They put the two words confident faith, confident trust or confident trust, right? Because now, wow, I can see how it pays off, for me to do these things. Like, wow, I was in this and find things during the day. I was in this you're in this conversation with somebody, and also all of a sudden you find yourself reacting differently. Or that, that morning you thought about it and you said, when I see that person, I really want, and you did it, you know. You were able not to react. You were able not to get mad at them. You were able not to get sucked into their drama or something, You didn't get your buttons pushed. And you should rejoice in that, because that gives us encouragement, right? We did it. So then you're not only seeing your teacher do those things, you're doing it. You become your own teacher. That's the inner guru. You become your own teacher, right? Yeah, it's exciting. So, so this gets. I think this fits in. So one time, we just finished a long a retreat at Vajrapani, and Lama Zopa Rinpoche was leading it, and I was in grad school, and I had to take time off. I was doing internships in grad school, and to be a counselor, and so I was taking time. So when it was over, I had to get back to work, you know. But Rinpoche had called the guy I learned my mentor in carpentry. He had called him in and said he wanted a stupa built for a director that had passed away, John Schwartz. And 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 my mentor came to me and said, "I can't do it. Can you go talk to Rinpoche?" I said, "I don't have time. I got to get back to work too. You know, can't." But I went over, and Rinpoche said, we need to build a stupa for John Schwartz, and it's got to be done." Now, I don't remember the time, but it wasn't much time. It felt like 2 weeks, but maybe it was a month. It felt like a week. That's what it felt like. And I said, Rinpoche, what if we can't make that deadline? Okay? I had doubt, right? I had doubt. Where's that doubt? Yeah? Anyway, I lack confidence, right? And he said, you know what he said? He said, that question doesn't even exist. And I was like, I was so relieved. I know, isn't it funny? I felt funny. It felt funny. It didn't feel like, what? What do you do? Why do you feel relieved? It reminded me of the time I was going to get married. Somebody, she called and she said she met somebody else and she called it off. And it was like a week, 2 weeks away. And my body just relaxed. It's like, that's the best thing, you know? That wasn't the right thing to do anyway. And that's how this felt. I just felt like I felt so relieved, like it's going to happen. Well, what I did was I got other people. I managed it more. I went back to work. I went back to work, but I got an architect who was willing to work on it. I got a builder who was willing to work on it, and we raised some money, and you know, so I was able to do it that way. It wasn't. I didn't have to think I have to do this all by myself alone, right? But it doesn't mean sometimes you disagree with your teacher. It's okay, you know. It's okay. Don't, it's not like, I mean, like Naropa and Talopa wasn't so much like that. Talopa would say, go jump off that cliff, and he'd go jump off that cliff. But it's not like, that was a different time and a different relationship. Oh, okay. Yeah. So let's do a meditation, okay? Yeah. So this is going to be, what do you think? You got to coach him? No? You what? Go with the flow? Okay. Okay. Um, there's all this talk about mind, okay? Mind? What is mind? Buddhists always talk, mind's the most important. Body, speech, and mind's the most important. Mind is where kind of runs the body and the speech. Makes the body, oh, I want to go there. So your body goes. What a bully. No, so the speech says, I'm going to say this to that person. And the speech, it comes out of the mouth, right? So this mind is the source of our happiness, our suffering, our projections, our thoughts, and but what is mind? What is mind? So this is from a book called Art of Happiness, the Dalai Lama, and it's a meditation on the nature of the mind. Okay, you up for this? Yeah. Okay. Um, so just sit comfortably, and I'm going to kind of talk a bit about where we want to go with it, where we're going to go, and then we'll have a few minutes to just sit. Um, not 45 minutes, Diane, but maybe, thank you, she said, but maybe 5 minutes where we just sit and try to do the meditation. Okay? So just sit comfortably. Um, let your body relax. Just let your body relax. Yeah, really check in, like your toes, all the way down, right? Just let your body relax. As strange as this may be, I'll explain why it's so strange as we go on, but just try to relax the body and relax the mind. Just try to be right here, right now. So we throw the word mind around. Some people say, well, the mind is the brain. It's physical, and that wasn't always the belief, but science, materials science got involved, and now it's kind of shifted, and they're starting to wonder. There are those wondering whether consciousness isn't something other than the brain. So instead of just believing what we hear and what we see, Buddhism's really big on introspective science, that there's validity to us checking up on our own, what's going on, and really investigating from our own side. So this meditation can be very helpful in just in curbing what are called discursive thoughts, that internal monologue, the storytelling mind, mental chatter, wandering. Sometimes it's called the monkey mind. It's always jumping around from one topic to another. The difficulty about turning the attention inside is that we're generally caught up in external objects, sense experiences, physical experiences, also ideas and concepts. I mean, Descartes even went so far to say, I think, therefore I am. Whereas Buddhism would say, wait a minute, there are thoughts. That doesn't mean I am. So maybe it's I am and there's thinking going on. So it's good to examine our belief systems about how the mind works, since it is so, our consciousness is so important in our life. So bring the mind inward and maintain an alertness, a mindfulness. Try to see the nature, the natural state of our consciousness, not afflicted by thoughts of the past, future, and just relax into the nature of awareness, of consciousness. Now, sometimes people go to like, well, there's nothing there. There's just this vacuity and a dullness, and we kind of blank out, some sort of absence, because we're so habituated to understanding our mind in terms of external objects or thoughts. But what's behind the thoughts? What is awareness? What is the nature, the essence of mind? We look at our world through concepts and images. When we withdraw the mind from external objects, it's as if we can't recognize the mind. And it's easy to get sleepy. So go further to see if the mind doesn't have qualities like knowing, the ability to know things, to understand things, to know what something is, to put thoughts together. Also, not only knowing, but there's appearances that arise in the mind. There's a clarity, mental activity giving rise to appearances, sometimes very vivid, like dreams, right? Arising in the mind. Brilliantly apparent, but intangible. They're intangible. So we're trying to go deeper into the what is behind all the display, all of the commotion. It's like there's a river flowing strongly, so strong it stirs up the water, we can't see the bottom. So thoughts are flowing so constantly that we can't experience mind essence. So just let the thoughts of past, present, future, the mental chatter, just look behind it. Look look deeper. Experience it, what it is. There's a non-conceptual energy, capacity for knowing. It's energetic, and there's a stillness to that awareness. So we're going to spend just a few minutes quietly just observing internally. There's an expression, look at the looker. Sometimes that shakes us out of being caught up in thoughts and just so maybe take a couple breaths again, just regular breaths, deep breaths consciously, and just relax again. And just turn the attention to the nature of the mind, very essence of consciousness. If your mind wanders off, you start thinking about something, be aware of that and bring the mind back to just bare consciousness. curiosity helps to keep the mind focused. Very relaxed. If you start to get dull, then maybe sit up or open your eyes a little bit. Bring the attention back inside, away from external objects or concepts, and focus on that knowing energy, that capacity. Okay. Okay. Stop there. So one teacher said that Westerners just can't really get that awareness has healing power on its own. Oh, okay. Thank you. So the only way we can discover that is by paying some attention to it and letting it pervade our get more of a front page rather than all the glamour, all the movement, all the to find that stillness. Okay, so um, let's talk a bit about emotions and as teachers. So pain, physical pain is a very obvious one, isn't it? I mean, it tells us something's wrong, and we got to do something. We got to put our attention there and attend to that stub toe or whatever it is. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So I think emotions are the same way. They can be a way of directing our attention that something's up, but not that the solution is out there. Well, if yeah, I know what the problem is. It's that person, what they just said to me. If you wouldn't say that, I wouldn't be unhappy right now. I wouldn't be angry right now. So you're responsible for making me upset. So I'm going to sue you. I mean, okay, there are places for the law. I'm not saying like that, but this is it sort of um, totally putting the responsibility for how we feel on something outside of us or something we don't have. If I just had that, instead of going, wait a minute, Not everybody thinks of that person the way I do. Some people really like that person, so oh, they're wrong. That's why they're wrong, or they don't see what I see. So we usually try to validate our point of view. Um, yeah, I'm not saying there aren't things that are wrong and we need to stand up to. It's not that. It's just this over exaggeration of putting the problem out there. Um, so again, emotions are a really good indication of if they bring stress to us or they bring well-being to us, then that's an indication. Wow, that brought me happiness. Having gratitude, rejoicing, being patient, that really brought me joy. That brought me some relief. You check in, right? You check, well, what did that? Oh, I got angry. I got uh, grumpy. I got, agitated. That didn't feel good. So then so really we all want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. So now those emotions become our guide. They can lead us to happiness by eliminating the ones that cause problems and fostering the ones that bring happiness. Wow. Something I can work on. I don't need college degree or I don't need to, you know, go somewhere. I could be anywhere and do that at any time. Um, the other thing they do is they can point out that when we're being self-centered, I'm only thinking of myself. So then that's good to find out because that's if we examine that stance, it's not entirely. This is a tricky one because we do need to take care of ourselves, and there is an individual, but on a another scale, we're totally dependent on others. We're totally interdependent. And our sense of self, if we try to find it, doesn't exist the way we hold it. It doesn't exist remember we went over this, as an independent, unitary, permanent fixture that's somewhere in here. Like there's all these meditations trying to look for it, right? And then you can't find it. But you don't want to go to nihilism. It does exist, it just doesn't exist the way it appears. Yeah. Yeah, we got to do that. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, in a sense we are. Yeah. Definitely. We have to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, we can become a burden for others if we don't look after ourselves. I know people like that, you know. They won't take care of themselves, and so many people are worried about them and trying to help them, right? So yeah, we definitely need to take care of this space, yeah, the body, mind. Yeah. But, people also go to food banks and hand out food and people help other people in other ways, teach them skills. So doctors help other people, right? So you can you need to do that. You need to do both, I think, yeah. And then there's these different ways of the three different kinds of bodhisattvas. The coming bodhisattvas are getting very close to becoming Buddhas. So some want to be uh, a they want to get enlightened, and then they'll lead everybody, right? So they want to really work on themselves until they still have this motivation to help everybody, but they want to get really enlightened first. They really want to take care of themselves right? So, but it's like they see themselves as a leader to enlightenment. Others might be a shepherd, like they're gonna be behind the sheep, right? And helping them as much as they can. They want to be the last one to become Buddha. And another one is like a captain, on a ship. All going to get there together. We're all going to get there together. So I think not to lose the interdependent nature, right? But yeah, we do have to, you have to, that's why people meditate and go off and meditate for years, and work on their minds. Yeah, we have to, Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Buddhist Holiness says the most selfish thing you can do is cherish others more than yourself. That's wise selfishness, he calls it. Wise selfishness. So, but I think we have to be careful not to get into helping others and we lose working on ourselves. Yeah. Like I'm serving others, I'm doing this great thing serving others and you're not attending to your own um, afflictions, your own problems, your own things that are blocking you from. Yeah. uh, Right, right. Like that would be for reputation or yeah, yeah, yeah. And sometimes the working on oneself, it just naturally some traditions, it's just naturally the compassion. The more you get in tune with how of reality and the interdependence, it just naturally flows that you're kinder to others and you attend to their suffering and you want them to be happy. It just comes out naturally. You can't help yourself. Or you work on that relative compassion and you work on the ultimate truth. And, so there's different ways. But I don't know, Ray, what did you mean? I don't think we're hitting it. No, you served. You're always, yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Just wondered how that epiphany. I'm always curious about epiphany moments, like what brings it up. I mean, what brought that up? Because and for me too, it's like when I'm down or really struggling, those moments they come, like there's this in Bodhicharyavatara, uh, Shanti Davis says the suffering has benefits, and I was like a lot of anxiety. Mine's more anxiety, and so I started and I said I read that I go to a book and look at looking for the meditation cabinet, looking what am I going to do about this? It's like Shanti Deva, okay, suffering has benefits. What the heck? And then I can put words to what I'm feeling. Like it did make me more humble. I wasn't so cocky. When you're suffering with something like that, depressed or anxious, it's like, wow, I'm not in control right now. Yeah, well, there's more. There's like I'm also feel I can be more understanding of others in that situation, and myself can be more compassionate. It can be. Want to do the want to I want to create the cause for happiness in myself and others. And um, but so you're down, you're really tired, and you're putting yourself down because you can't keep going. You can't keep at it. We're doing enough. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's a little bit what you were talking about. Maybe we're doing something because we want to, we need to do that. We need to do more. We need to, you know, somehow we're brought up with that idea or something. We're not good. We're not good at, in what my parents grew up with, my mom mainly Lutheran. I think there's something about you kind of work yourself to heaven. The harder you work, the more like there was a book I read called the Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. Does that make sense? Oh, so the Protestant ethic would be work hard, and 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 the spirit of capitalism is work hard. Like they want to. I'm sorry, but it's a treadmill. It's like work hard, get out there and work. That you got to prove yourself. Good intention, like unintentional victory, problem, like this such a okay, do more, do more. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think the meditation we just did is really good for us, for me anyway. Just sit still and just you're good. You're good. You're good where we've all got this incredible capacity, this mind, this energy, this get in touch with it more. Like it's almost like it's not getting enough recognition. We go around do things but we can't do it without and it's always there. It doesn't go away at night. It runs this body without us paying it, without us consciously. We don't need an eye to have this thing work. There's no one in command. And so to appreciate that more and more, and that everybody has that, and that energy um, is so pervasive. But no, I think to say I'm not good enough is a common one in in our culture. His Holiness didn't get it at first. People have low self-esteem. They don't think they're good enough. What? We don't have that one in Tibet. Well, we have it pretty good here. Yeah, yeah. So that's a great counter measure to that emotion. You know, that when we get really down, like yours was that, mine was anxiety. There's these epiphanies. Would they come without being like that? I've had dreams when I've been really freaking out, like it's like, wow, I don't even have those in daily life, like connections with a llama or like I don't have that, it's like that's okay. I don't wish that on myself, but when they come, maybe we can be a little more like this is part of the the this is okay, if the motivation is still there, you got back and started helping your kids. It didn't, and if you, I don't know if you've read Byron Katie. Do you know her? Oh, Love What Is. Um, she had epiphany. She was like down. She was like a mother with kids, and she was so depressed, and the only place she could get help was in an anorexic center. And she was laying on the floor, curled up, and just had this epiphany that she was causing her own suffering. Read her stuff. I love reading other stuff, other people who are, it's not so strictly just to boot watch because it's the experience that she had. Or Stroke of Insight is another really good one. that she has this brain neurologist has this stroke, and then she has this insight about it. Byron Katie, yeah. So she came up with this, the work she calls it, and it's like she challenges people's thinking. Like that's where your suffering is coming from. Is that true? Is that really true? Um, who would you be without that thought? I love that. Who would you be without that thought? Who would you be without that story? To me, that's a bit like looking at the essence of mind. Who would I be? Who would I be without my story? Because we're so into stories. I was born in Fresno, and then we have this. Oh, somebody asks, oh, where are you from? It's like, um, how are you today? Fine. Atisha, I think it was Atisha. I don't know. He would say, how's your heart? How's your good heart today? You know, your compassion. So she just she had an epiphany, and then she put it into a framework, of helping others, and then people just want her to help, and she goes up on stage with people. I wanted to go. Here a little more. I could relate a little more. I mean, we all have our own experience, but wow, unplanned, unplanned things that just hit us, you know. And our attitude, you know, we can see it sometimes too. If we have one and it really grips us, right? It really grips us and just carries. It's just. I was in Afghanistan and crossing the street, and Rita from Germany, she had these big Afghani coat on, and this car. What happened? Oh, she's walking behind it, and the bumper caught her coat and dragged her down the street for quite a ways. She was okay because it's a big coat, but I was just thinking of that because it's like we get dragged along by these emotions, and how long do they drag us along? Like you get a depression or anxiety, and then maybe you have an epiphany. Maybe you have a like Byron Katie or you did when you had a depression, or all of a sudden, wow, it's like this is an adventure. Instead of thinking this is terrible, what's going to happen to me? That happened. I got into that once. Like, why don't you see it as an adventure? Instead, because when you went traveling, it was an adventure, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and you're going into the unknown. Now you're going into the unknown in your mind. So why don't you just see it as an adventure? So then we have that experience, and then maybe the next time that one comes along, it doesn't drag us down the road quite so far, you know? Like, oh, hi. We're a little more friendly with it, right? I mean, this is just thinking about this now from my own experience. A little, a little more like appreciative, a little more like this isn't, because the way we look at it has so much to do with our experience, right? If I look at it as bad, that's so much, we're going to talk about a little bit about that, but it's like, if we look at it as bad, then it's, that has a lot to do with it being bad. If we look at it as pain, it's in, and we don't like pain, but if we look at it as, oh, sensation, I did that once with a hernia. Oh, oh, clear light and bliss. And I relaxed. What the effect of that is I relaxed because a lot of the pain, there's pain and then there's suffering. So the suffering's from, right? Um, Pretty cool. So um, so let's look at some specific emotions real quick. So fear, fear can be helpful, right? Something, afraid of violence or afraid of a cliff we come to. Um, or yeah, fear of the long-term consequences of negative actions that we've created. If we've stolen something or hurt somebody, it can be on our mind a lot, and then maybe, you know, we get in trouble later on down the line. So, um, not helpful when it's like, this is new to me. It says like the emotion related to ignorance is fear. And I thought about think about that, and some of the commentary on it is that it kind of goes with the expression ignorance is bliss. Like I don't want to know about I don't want to know my wife's having an affair. She's not, but I mean I don't think she is. Do you really ever really know these things? I don't know. Pretty sure. Um, so some people don't want to hear about it. Don't talk about death. Ah, you're gonna jinx it. I'm gonna die right. So I think that's what this is about. This fear makes us not want to know about it. We don't want to get into the difficulty of it. We want to, huh? Y- Yeah, yeah, I don't want to hear about how difficult it's going to be or what I have to about yeah, I don't want to hear about it. I just yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't want new ideas. Like I mean, I don't know, I don't know, kind of an example. From what you're saying, it's like the woman being interviewed, she didn't want to vote for Hillary because a woman would be a very bad president because women have, their emotions or, they're unstable. They get hysterical. Just a woman saying this. They can be hysterical. We'd get in so many wars. And the interviewer says, well, ma'am, we've never had a woman president and we've been in a lot of wars. And she said, we can't have a woman president. So, yeah, so it's like we turn our attention away from trouble and we want to kind of stay in a so the antidote to that is get into it, look into it. Like I used to pass out if I just had my blood pressure taken when I was a kid. I mean, I was just get so woozy. Now I can watch the needle go in my arm and, like I wanted to, I didn't want to, but some people have fears that they live with their whole life. They never, they never try to, and then they're forced. Sometimes they're forced to do it. Like my mom never wanted to be alone. She wanted to die before my dad. She, almost prayed, but he died years before she did. So she was forced in a way, to get through that. So meditate. I learned like I had a truck that caught fire. It was a lemon. It was a lemon. You know what a lemon is? It's built on Friday or Monday. You know why they say that? Because Friday everybody wants to go home and Monday they're all hungover, so that you're not going to get good quality. So it was my first new truck and it was like a lemon and I went through a couple engines, transmissions. It couldn't support a lumber rack. I was doing carpentry. It was like, why? And I couldn't get rid of it. And then it caught fire and totally burned. The whole thing just burned. And I'm standing there while it's burning and I got a few things out, and I'm in this place. I'm up on the way to Vajrapani on the dirt road, and I'm worried it's going to start a fire. But it was foggy in the summer, and I was in a good spot. And so I'm standing there. Somebody went to call CDF or fire department, and I'm standing there looking at it. And for the first, I mean, they didn't come for 45 minutes. So the first 5 minutes, I'm going, and then I went, this is what has to happen for me to get rid of this truck. And I'm like celebrating, I'm like, yay, but I try and now I'd say, no, I can't. I don't want to be like this. So we can take these opportunities. I don't want to be like this where I have to wait for some disaster because they say change is hard. I mean, when I moved from Vajrapani, it was really hard for me. 35 years there and I moved. I got this picture of me eating oatmeal on my deck out of a saucepan. And Bev saying, "Can't you think of one good reason to go?" And I went, "No." But as soon as we got to the place, I'm okay. But so, people either need a crisis or an epiphany, right? I mean, it's hard to just to say, okay, we need to do this. Let's go. Some people who move around a lot, I find it's easier for them. When they were young, they moved around a lot, or they've been through stuff. So then we can use those opportunities that are so hard to say, okay, this how do I, we're like, how do I avoid this suffering in the future? What do I need to develop, And then you find, wow, I did that time I responded the way I wanted to. And encourage ourselves. So there's three ways of working with emotions. Okay. One is you just got to breathe, You just got to kind of remove it, like don't go to the liquor store. You're an alcoholic. Don't have alcohol in your house. Just get away from it, and breathe and just distance yourself from it. Just kind of watch it, just kind of watch this thing and try to stay away from things that stimulate it, without reacting, you know. It's hard. But okay, the next one is transform it. So we've talked a little bit about that. So like, you know, anger comes up, you're more patient. You get attached to something, it's from self-grasping. So you kind of you work on that. You try to turn that attachment into endearment. I love that expression. I didn't make it up. Okay, I read it somewhere. But attachment you transform into endearment. So you're like, oh, I need you in my life. I can't live without you. That's the attachment. Oh, what am I going to be like if you die? I'm not going to be able to make it. And you go, you're wasting the time you're with the person right now by being so worried about whether you're going to be able to be okay later. I'll do something about that. Figure out what you do. But right now, endearment. Like appreciate. Love. Wish them you care so much about them, then wish them happiness. Then try to make them happy. Try to be happy, make them happier. You know, anger, anger is patience. Wow, opportunity. You know, well, what am I getting so up? And then you analyze. What am I getting so upset about? Well, he cut me off in traffic. Well, what 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 are some things that I mean? There's lots of the dishes didn't get. I mean, what can we think of? Yeah, rolling their eyes. That would do it. Set you off. I get that now from my wife. We have a big joke. She's the best eye roller around. So we just play with it. It's my fault because she rolled her eyes. Oh, because she's right. Yeah. Fa I just found this book that I had. It's called Everything Men Know About Women. Yeah. But on the cover it looks like it's really scholarly and. Yeah, right. It's a good read. Um, so you're transforming the energy, so it's like poison becomes medicine in a way. So that poison, like being that sort of emotion, you just use that energy to become, from attached to my truck to, free, free at last. I'm free. I'm free at last. So it's the attitude. It's not the object, but you know, I was in the removing stage. It's in the removing stage. So the transforming's more. I think. Um, yeah, jealousy. I've gone over that before. Envy. You rejoice in the person, their qualities, their good qualities. If we have pride, and you can learn from pride also. Like we said, oh wait, you look at your own faults and you look at other people's good qualities and what other people can do and what animals can do, and maybe that can calm us down. So it's really recognizing the harmfulness of the harmful emotions, and when it's beneficial, then you go, yeah, yeah, I was able to stay calm that time and stay present and respond instead of react. You know, what did I do? I checked into my body and I could feel all this adrenaline flowing, but somehow it didn't take me over because I put awareness on it. I was aware of it instead of it just making me react. So I should do that more. But then a situation will come up later and you'll need some other skills, because it's very tricky. It'll shape shift. It'll try to come at you a different way sometimes. It's like it has a mind of its own. I think the ignorance has a lot of energy. It's had a lot of habituation. The misconceptions have had a lot of, right? Misconceptions also some have been around a long time and they have a lot of power. So if we get in touch, if we get in touch with the suffering of the problem, the suffering that it's causing us, and focus on that, right? Focus on the problem it's causing us, like it's the state of what it's doing to our state of mind. Focus on that, right? Not caught up in blaming someone else or desiring our wishes to be fulfilled by somebody else. But what am I experiencing right now? What am I feeling? What am I thinking that's causing me to feel the way I am right now? Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah. Um, and with the pride, right? We just want the best for ourselves. We think the best of ourselves. So I love this. If I was only humble, I would be perfect. What a prideful thing to say, huh? Okay. And then we can transcend it. I got two more meditations I want to do. Fuck. Okay, just real quick. Nothing's really quick. Me, is it? Sorry. So with the transcending, it's dissecting it a bit. So it's like seeing the emptiness of it, which is seeing its dependent origination, seeing that it's a dependent thing. So like if we get angry, then we can look, well, what am I feeling in my body? So it's a bodily sensation. It's a thought. It's so it has parts, you know. So where is it? Where's it located? You can do that kind of search for it, either for the feeling or for the eye that's having that experience. Try to find that eye that's having that experience. Where is it? Where, is it up somewhere up in here? Because we have all these senses here. Some people, the Tibetans think, and it's here, you know, or is it in big toe? When you stub your big toe, is it in your big toe? Or no, it's in my brain. That's where it is in my brain. That's where it is. That's where the feeling is. That's and the eyes there too. They're like together in the brain. Where in the brain? Oh, don't get technical. We have to get technical. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, it's just there. We just believe it's there. Oh, there's a monster under the bed. There's a monster under my bed. Oh, don't look. Well, let's look under the bed. Like tomorrow when it's light, we'll turn on the lights. Well, it only comes out at night, and we can't look at night. So, we have to look. Mo Do you hear the one about Mullen Nasrudin? I think it's Mullen Nasrudin. He was looking for his keys under the lamppost. And you know this one? No. So somebody came along and said, what are you doing? I'm looking for my keys. And the guy starts looking, and then somebody else comes, what? We're looking for keys. I keep looking. And then one of them says, well, where did you lose them? He said, well, I lost them over there, but it's dark over there. So we have to shine the light on the dark in the darkness, right? And have a look. We have to look for it for where we think it is. Um, so that's the transcending. So I love this. I love metaphor. So it's sort of like shaving cream, shaving foam. Women, everybody uses shaving foam, right? I don't anymore, but I think I have a can still. But anyway, it's like or like a mirage. But I like shaving foam because it looks solid, but if we start to examine, if we touch it, it's, you just, right? So that's these emotions feel really solid, you know. They affect our perception, but if we look for them, if we try to start poking around, where is it? Really difficult. So I think one of the benefits of that is that our experience is what we put our attention on. So if we're looking at somebody else and getting angry, right? As soon as we look, when that thing where I said I looked at my sensations and you're stopping that connection. You're stopping that experience, and you're having a different experience. And in sight, strokes of insight, she talks about that. Like if we can just for 90 seconds get our attention off of a troublesome feeling, that'll change the circuitry. And there's all this work now about how mind and brain interact, and how mind can affect the brain, right? There's all this stuff going on now. So, oh, okay. Kind of body of light meditation, really good thing for Milarepa. What to do? I got the three fierce mantras. I just love. Why don't I just give you a glimpse, and then next time, if there's a next time, when the four of us get together. So, um, okay, this is a contemplation. I won't call it a meditation, but try to go inside, and it ties in with the meditation we did already. Okay, I was just calm, just relax, be present, and just follow this. Milarepa, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he was quite a yogi, and he could be quite playful. He said, when when we run after our thoughts, right? We are like a dog chasing a stick. Every time the stick is thrown, we run after it. Instead, be like a lion who, rather than chasing after the stick, turns to face the thrower. One only throws a stick at a lion once. The mind goes chasing after any and every thought that passes through it, and it often doesn't mind whether it suffers in doing so. So are humans smarter than dogs? We can learn to sit still and watch the sticks fly past without reacting to them. We can examine the sticks and recognize their impermanence. In a sense, thoughts are not mandatory. Awareness can make a decision about them. So turn and look at the mind directly. What do we see? Thoughts coming and going. We can see the space of awareness in which these thoughts occur. That awareness is pure, unstained by thoughts. This is our Buddha nature, our own potential for full awakening, freedom from suffering, an experience of unbiased compassion for all beings, and a means to be our utmost. So look at the looker. We're always looking out. Let awareness look at itself. Does awareness have color? Does it have a shape? Does it have size? Is it in a particular location? Does awareness have gender? Kind of like Zen koans. They leave you in a space, I feel, right? They leave you in a very, if we can find that contentment inside, so refreshing, so refreshing. Okay, and then I'll just throw these out at you, okay? For our troubled times, our very troubled times, I think, very difficult times, right? In the world, politically. Um, these were written by a Lama, Sangpa Gare, in the 12th century. The three fierce mantras. They're not in Sanskrit. They're they're in English. They're strong medicine for difficult times. Okay, so here they come. Okay, it's three of them. Whatever has to happen, let it happen. Right? That doesn't mean kind of a laissez-faire attitude. It's just that it's already happened. So there's no point in resisting it. It's not, you can't, oh, this shouldn't happen. It's unfair, right? Shanti Davis said, why worry? If you can do something about it, do it. If you can't, then why worry? So it's cultivating a mindset of not being afraid or being in despair about something that's happened. One of the four C's is this shouldn't be happening right now, right? Well, it's happening. So whatever has to happen, don't resist. Just doesn't mean you're inactive. Doesn't mean you don't do anything. But this frees us up to act and change things with wisdom because we're not clouded over by emotions of, right? We're calmer. We're more like, oh, okay, now what? Instead of, it shouldn't be happening to me. Get me out of here. Sometimes I think about being like, I did hospice training, right? And one of the things I did was I was a patient and they came around like I was dying, and they came around and we were in a setting. It was a real, and I felt so out of control, you know, like you can't, you're dead, you're dying, you can't really move, and people are wanting to help you, and sometimes they do stuff that's not helpful, and they say things that are just like demeaning, and like you're just helpless. But we don't have to be helpless with the Dharma. We have our mind. No one can change. The Tibetans who were imprisoned in China, in Tibet, they had their minds. They came out. Oh, what was the hardest thing for you? They were tortured. They had lousy food. They had to work hard. It was hard to keep my compassion for the Chinese. All mental training. Unbelievable. Okay, whatever the situation, it's fine. Be in the present. Be in the moment. Fine is not good or bad. It's not it just is what it is. Okay? Whatever the situation, I can deal with it. I'm responsible. It's not what will be will be. It's not that attitude. It's I'm fine. I can deal with this. That confidence goes back to the confidence, right? Okay, the last one. I really don't need anything to be happy except the Dharma. Okay? I really don't need anything to be happy except the Dharma. We need essentials, right? We need food and water and air and play and roof over our head. But what's the greatest wealth? Contentment, right? Um, Things are impermanent, they change. So the more we rely on material things for our happiness, the more trouble we can get into. So first practice these on your cushion, like as you're sitting, like if something comes up, if it happens, if it has to happen, I'm going to let it happen. This is one type of meditation. There's visualization, there's analytical meditation, but this is just being what's there and seeing what's there. And whatever comes up, whatever situation, it's fine. I'm just going to sit here and be with it. And I don't really need anything else right now. I'm fine. I just had breakfast. I had something to drink. I went to the bathroom. I'm just going to hang out with whatever comes up, okay? And then we can take it out into the world. So it can break our grasping after things and rejecting things. And we might even be able to touch some difficult things in our mind and be able to be with them and not have them control us. And then this is really important. This is from, yeah, this is such good advice. So when we're doing this, not to be, stern with ourselves or um, berate ourselves. We need to be flexible, tolerant toward ourselves, when we're sitting, gentle, not pushing. Lamia says, don't slowly, dear, he would say, don't push. We're not setting goals that are too high. I have to get enlightened by Sunday tomorrow. I mean, some in the past did that. The Buddha said that. I'm not going to get up from this seat until I'm enlightened. But, he already spent three countless eons, they say, preparing for that moment. So he was ready. So it wasn't too high for him. So we have to know our capability. This isn't self-torture. This is, Dharma doesn't demand the impossible, but only that we change our outlook. So I heard this story. This one person was telling this Lama, said, my friend read your calendar that you put out with sayings on it, and they're just miserable because they can't live up to those quotes. They're just too, she's gotten miserable reading them. And he kind of laughed and said, the Dharma is to make you happy, you know. So it's not the quote, right? It's not the quote. It's that we come from our, I'm not, like me, like we're talking, I'm not good enough. Like I can't measure up to that. That's our target. That's what we should turn our attention to, that we have that attitude that we're not good enough. With refuge and bodhicitta, the obscurations to our Buddha nature being the potential for awakening that it's in all of us, will gradually dissolve. Just with refuge and bodhicitta. So that thing about picking the right course, I'm going to work on the real cause of my unhappiness, which is in my mind. That's my path. I'm going to do that. That's 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 the way to go. Okay? I take refuge in the doctor and the medicine and the nurse and for all sentient beings. And I'm going to dedicate it to all sentient beings. May all beings find relief from their suffering and gain happiness. and hallelujah. And we'll stop there. Okay. Oh, books. I'm just going to give books away. Everybody gets a book today. You can come pick. You two can both get books. I gave Diana one already. You can pick one. This is Kunalama. He was great on bodhicitta, but these are like verses. I don't know. These are more explanatory. You have this one. Yeah, oh, that's a good idea. You do? Do you have this one? Are you going to take that too? That's good. You're welcome. Try that one. Okay. Yeah, no, no, please. Yeah. No, yeah, those are, you can get this through Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archives for free. Yeah. Good to see you. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We have to decide. Yeah. With their books. Come over here. What about John? Well, I got the one you got in the mail. Okay. Thank you, Diane. Thank you for all your coordinating sound.
Do I get a